Ever wondered how real innovation labs actually turn complex community challenges into practical solutions, especially somewhere like Syria? Today, we're diving deep into that process, from the first idea all the way to a working model.
I love this topic because so many people hear innovation lab and picture just brainstorming in a meeting room, but these field labs are much more hands-on. I'll share some stories and examples from Syria that really bring it to life.
So, here's what you can expect. We'll break down the field lab steps, show how teams form and train, dig into how problems are actually identified, and explore how solutions become concrete models. Plus, we'll touch on how these methods help government and community projects alike.
And we'll give you a sense of how these labs adapt to different communities, how they experiment and learn on the go, and why this approach can really make a difference, even with limited resources. Let's jump in and see how it all starts.
So, the first big step is all about understanding the community itself. Teams head out to get a real sense of what people are dealing with on the ground, what's working, what's not, and what complicated issues need solving.
Exactly, and what stands out is how they actually listen. Teams are half made up of local leaders, which helps them spot challenges outsiders might miss. They don't assume, they really dig in to map out every angle of a problem.
I've seen that too. Sometimes the issues are much more tangled up with the community's daily life than they first appear. That's why the teams go beyond surface observations, collecting detailed notes to analyze and connect the dots.
And before any fieldwork even starts, everyone gets trained in lab methods. That way, they all share a toolkit for how to spot not just problems, but hidden opportunities in what they're seeing.
Once they've gathered all those observations, the next challenge is, how do you turn messy, real-world problems into clear opportunities? That's where the lab methodology comes in, digging into those notes, debating causes, and looking for the big leverage points.
What's cool is that each team focuses on defining the problem with precision. They don't just say there's unemployment. For example, they figure out what drives it and where there might be untapped resources or skills the community can use.
Yeah, and then they look for chances to turn those insights into something that works, a social or economic model tailored to the local setting.
And it's not just theory. The teams use hands-on experiments, piloting their ideas in the real world. They keep adjusting, learning from setbacks, and making the model work with what's actually available, no big budgets needed.
Let's talk about one unique aspect: the involvement of Dr. Bougie and the local experts. Their role seems to be guiding the teams, especially when it comes to linking field findings to these inspiration economy models.
Absolutely, and their visits really boost the process. They help teams compare notes, spot patterns, and think bigger, like, how could a model that works here be adapted elsewhere? It adds this loop of outside expertise and local know-how.
And after the initial experiments, there's always a checkpoint. Teams present their results, share the before and after story, and get feedback. It's a way to keep improving, but also to celebrate progress and inspire others.
What I find fascinating is these review visits build a public story. Sharing the ups and downs, not just the successes, helps other teams and communities learn faster and avoid repeating mistakes.
Now, shifting gears a bit, these labs aren't just for grassroots community issues. They're also being used with government institutions. The process starts with a field study to map out how departments work and where the tough spots are.
And the structure is pretty rigorous. Once they've scoped out the main challenges, they set up workshops to introduce the inspiration economy concepts, then build teams from different departments to help break silos and encourage fresh thinking.
What's interesting is how these programs can be tailored. Some last 3 months, others stretch to a year, depending on the complexity. And sometimes, if a problem is really big, they'll run multiple models in different locations to see what sticks.
Exactly, and at the end, there's always a public sharing phase, like a graduation or a showcase where teams present what they tried, what they learned, and how their approach could be scaled across other departments or communities.
One thing I really appreciate is how central experimentation is to the whole approach. Teams aren't expected to get it right the first time. They're encouraged to learn by doing, tweaking their models based on real feedback.
That's such a refreshing mindset, especially for places with limited resources. Even a small win can be huge if it's easy to replicate. And after the pilot phase, there's a formal evaluation. Did the project really move the needle for the community or institution?
And if it works, the next step is spreading the word, publishing results. running workshops, and even launching exhibitions so other teams can see exactly how things were done.
What's powerful here is the ripple effect. One team's solution can inspire 3 more, and suddenly you have a network of people adapting and improving on each other's work across the country.
So, let's wrap up with 3 key takeaways. First, these labs thrive on deep community engagement, getting the real story, not just assumptions.
Second, the process is hands-on and experimental. Teams build, test, and adapt models in the field, learning from every challenge.
And third, sharing the journey's successes and failures helps spread the impact far beyond one team or location, fueling an ongoing wave of innovation.
If you're involved in community or government projects, the best next step is to gather a mixed team, get out into the field, and start mapping what really matters to people. That's how the real change begins.
Thanks for listening and diving into the world of field labs with us today. Stay curious, keep experimenting, and we'll see you next time.